Welcome back to those of you on YouTube. No real danger of a fire here. I was overly concerned, but it never hurts to be cautious with cooking. So, what you see here is my lower stage, which I detached earlier, just starting to drift away. Unfortunately, this can continue to get simulated all the way through re-entry. It's one of the things Flight Manager for Usable Stages still needs to fix, because I really don't need my CPU processing this as well. And if there was trouble in it, it would report him being dead, even though the stage actually reignited its engines later. I guess I could always set the engines to night immediately after separation, avoid that in the future. But then, I burn the stage, and I don't like that either. That could eventually cause problems if they initiate burns causing damage. Anyways, this is work on. Luckily, the prediction is this will re-enter right around the KSC, so I don't need to do, hardly anything actually to it. At apoapsis, I'll make a tiny little burn. For rate, because when I net my parachutes, that will cause it to be a little further west, and also make it a little bit shallow re-entry. But other than that, just wait. So I guess this is a bit like SpaceX, and I'm performing a maneuver near out west. The difference is I'm performing that maneuver give me a sec. Sorry, I had to unforbid that battery. So the difference is SpaceX is performing that maneuver in the retrograde direction because they start the gravity turn. I have to perform forward. Technically, SpaceX has it right, and I should have done a little bit of gravity turn so that I'd be burning west rather than east to fine-tune my landing, but what's done is done. That'll also get me the heck away from that upper stage, so it doesn't have to keep simulating that. Ooh, I may have gone a little too far. that's about right. I don't think this thing has enough fuel. I could have done this landing without any parachutes. I just don't trust the next ship quite enough for that yet. Still a little buggy. Maybe a few more revisions down the line, I'll consider it. They're always improving it, but right now, there's a serious danger of it smashing me into the ground far too quickly if I do that. Because it doesn't seem to account for changing thrust to weight ratios very well when you have very, very low fuel contents like this. Now, I have to retract the landing legs there because they will tend to make this too aerodynamically unstable. Usually, the dragger end will end up in the opposite direction when you're traveling. You'll end up on the retrograde end, which would make this go upside down. So to prevent spinning, I need to retract those, and then I'll be able to deploy them again later. Isn't that beautiful? It's close to Kansas City. Very close. Apologies if you guys can't hear the sound too well. I turn it way down to make sure it wouldn't drown out my microphone. Otherwise, the noise filtering software on OBS would filter out my own voice is noise, because it was softer than the game. That's just to take me a little closer to the launch pad. And now it seems to be trying to flip me. That may have actually made it worse, since now I seem to be gliding away from KFC, its body. I cannot tell you why it's doing this. I really couldn't. This is odd behavior. But whatever, it'll land, and it's actually gliding towards the KFC now. My rocket apparently decided it was a plane. Now that is what I call flyback capabilities. Look at this. This is amazing. I probably could have landed on the launch pad if I noticed this a little sooner. It's not unrealistic either. If AI works on a realistic aerodynamics model, something I expected like this happens, it's because it would happen in real life, and you just didn't know about it. This rocket, it's like a giant wing, really. It's not the best one, but it can produce lift. That's just what happened. That was a beautiful touchdown. When it comes to installed rocket boosters, there's not actually much I can do, except wait for them to re-enter, choose when to deploy the parachutes, and when to deploy the retro rockets. I don't know if anyone else caught that, but science sort of got in orbit, just flew overhead. This is a very low orbit. Eventually I'll probably go and grab the life support supplies off it, since those do have mass and are already in orbit. Maybe even if I use the claw and the science lab, I can reset the experiments and actually put that thing to use again. you I had a reaction wheel so I could guide this re-entry. I'm going to get it right next to the launch pad. Actually, I'm looking including the 1.25 meter inline probe core once I lock that instead of MedJet case. Because it should be cheaper, I think, and it has a reaction wheel. But that'll have to wait. I don't have that yet. Perfect. Didn't even tip over. Oh, not that again. For those of you wondering what that is a bug. From a previous attempt to launch this fuel depot, actually. What happened was, I just wanted to fully deploy the parachute early here, so this wouldn't go too far from the KSC. Okay, so what happened was, I tried to launch this Methane Fuel Depot before, except Fuel Depot, after all the parts are covered, decided to start randomly spinning around, parts are completely out of alignment, and exploded. That was partly because I kept switching back to the thing during the middle of this. I figured out what I need to do is land all of these, not recover them, because if I recover it, switch back to the main vessel. And always switch to the main vessel once before integrating the saves. Otherwise it causes problems. So after something like 6 or 7 switchbacks, because I had to repeat a few of these, the things, all the parts got aligned, it started spinning, it exploded, and the medjet, one of the medjet cases got sent out at about the speed of light, at normal to the orbital plane of Earth. It's literally on escape trajectories from the sun and around the speed of light. Which, I mean, those go hand in hand. If it's the speed of light, it's always going to escape from something. But anyways, the other interesting thing is that when I added back up my funds, I actually had more funds than before I launched the thing. Because I did a revert, but somehow it didn't revert that part flying out or the cost that were added to my budget. So I actually made money off of the failed budget, which I was not trying to do, obviously. So I wasn't trying to exploit anything. What am I going to do now? Build craft and destroy them, just throw away the extra money? I'll keep it. I'll consider it a bonus in the Congressional Congress. Global Congress, sorry. Everything's okay. Congressional Congress makes no sense. This is real life. It'll go to good use, putting trouble feet on Mars. Doomsday. I don't know if anyone noticed. I actually deployed the retro rockets early there. I meant to deploy them close to the ground, and I actually did it early. But it's still, I guess it didn't even need them if it does a touchdown land. It's only when it lands in the sea that it really needs the retro rockets to work these parts. parts, I mean the main rocket, still tends to lose anything radially attached and sometimes the parachute. So I went for a straight up ascent so that the SOBs would land on land. I could have gone a little bit of a gravity turn, and in the lower stage would have still made it back, but the SRBs would have been out over the seas. So that's why I chose this slightly less efficient profile, even for SpaceX style launches, which are not efficient to begin with. I do hope SpaceX succeeds, though. I'm no Elon Musk fanboy, but if SpaceX succeeds, it will show the space community that you don't have to just keep repeating the same type of launches we've been doing since Apollo. And it will open the door to even more innovation, hopefully. Things like airships to orbit and magnetic launch drives to give spacecraft some of their initial velocity to the ground, which actually works well for reusables, because it saves some of the delta V of the rocket, actually a lot of it, and the delta V that you saved is obviously the most expensive part, and the rocket is heaviest. Right off the launch pad, the first few hundred meters delta V, the second delta V are by far the most expensive. Plus, you have less overgrowth effect, and you have thicker atmosphere at that point. So if you can give a rocket even 1,000 meters a second assisted launch, it will massively save the size of the rocket and the cost of the rocket, and allow you to go with much better margins. So, magnetics, launch assist, airship to orbit, maybe even space planes someday. No one's going to get serious about it until someone breaks the stranglehold of disposable traditional rockets on the space community. For anything besides a shuttle, which was gold-plated, actually discouraged innovation, if anything. Trying to open that parachute a little earlier, it didn't work. Right-clicking bugs. Anyways, I'm sure this will be fine. It's still in the KSC biome as far as I can tell. see here, this is spinning around. Each successive time you load it up, before all these saves are integrated, it spins faster. If you do it enough, the parts will get out of alignment and it'll explode. It's one of those things Flight Manager for Reusable Stages really needs to fix, because if this happened to a space plane in the atmosphere, for say drop tanks, yeah, that's going to be an issue. Nope, I was wrong. Only one of those pens being at the KFC. Oh well. And for those of you who've never seen Flight Manager for Reusable Stages before, this is how you integrate things in the save permanently, is you switch back to the space sensor. And that basically gets rid of that window, tells the thing that, yeah, I'm done dropping stages, makes everything nice and stable and back to normal. Now I just have to cover these for some moolah. Now, some of those who have watched before might notice I actually did have a contract to test a parachute, which I could have gone and tried to fulfill with those drop stages, except contracts can't be fulfilled while in flight using Flight Manager for Reusable Stages. You have to land stuff back on the ground, integrate it, and then if you have anything on the ground, you can get contracts, but you can't do in-flight ones with drop stages. It's unfortunately one of the known issues with it right now. So I couldn't deploy the parachutes at the proper altitude speed on the way down using that model. Oh, and these are just the launch clamps. I do actually expect, by the way, this at some point return to Kerbin's sphere of influence based on a projection of its trajectory before it left. I'm not seeing any encounters showing up here. I'm afraid to load it because the slightest loading bug in loss of change of trajectory will cause it to not be in that trajectory anymore. But if what I saw before is accurate, this will eventually return to Kerbin and plow straight into the planet itself. It's actually equipped with parachutes and should be able to make a safe recovery if it doesn't burn up, which is a big if. But it's built to actually be able to take some heat. It's got a disposable part in the bottom that can burn up safely. We'll see what happens. For those of you on YouTube, though, anyways, I'm going to cut the stream here. For those of you on Twitch, you're free to watch while I make my next launch, or to call it a night. This is the end of the projected time of this broadcast. Until next time, this is North Star 1989. Fly far, fly bravely.